Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, here with you for the weekend big show. Portal insanity, playoff insanity, signing day insanity, you name it. That's what we're going to talk about here with you on the program. Streaming live on YouTube at Law Dog Sports. As joining me, as always, is my partner, Jeremy Schroeder, who's, I would imagine, still recovering from that LSU debacle on Saturday night. But, you know, it's what happens to 6-6 teams sometimes. You come out and ride high, and then sometimes you come out and ride low. And thought about trying to go live at one point in time, but, buddy, it was so tough.
You ain't telling me nothing. Man, that was a master class in overthinking by one Joe John Finley.
Yeah, I mean, why try to get cutesy after you saw what worked, you know, somewhat productively the week before? And if you're wondering what we're talking about, it just seemed like the quarterback run game was near absent. They did complete one big long pass that, you know, they weren't ready to go on the road with what they've been dealing with.
No, and they came out their first couple of drives, and it was like last week didn't happen. There's things that they did well, there's things they do well, and they didn't try to do any of those things. And once they kind of settled into it, they moved the football.
Well, you're what? Then, you're tied at 17 in the first half. Then you give up a score late, and that's after a special team score for LSU.
You're tied at 17. It's 24-17. You get the ball back. You're moving it right down the field. You know, nice and easy. Looks great. And then you try a backwards pass to Bauer Sharp.
Yeah.
And he Leroy Jenkins that thing right to a defensive back.
Yeah.
And that was the ball game.
It's so bad. And, hey, I like the shirt, by the way.
Hey, thank you.
Supporting the brand. Yeah, and you know, here's the thing, Jeremy, that was so bad, and it was so seemingly so long ago. And Thanksgiving weekend's always odd to me anymore because games are spread out from Thursday to Friday to Saturday. But for college football, I don't care that much about pros too much. But now with the playoff committee debacle and now the portal and signing day, it seems like it was a month ago.
Sure. Seems like that Alabama loss to Oklahoma was another lifetime ago.
Yeah, apparently to committee members it was. It was.
Yeah, you know, lose early and we can forgive it. Okay.
I always said this about the 2017 season with Ohio State. There were so many prognosticators that wanted to and, you know, and I don't know, you know, obviously Ohio State didn't make the playoff that season, or did they?
2017, that was...
That Clemson, Bama, then Georgia, OU?
That was 2018.
What, the year 2017, the 2018 playoffs.
It was 2018 playoffs.
It was 2017 season. OU had beaten Ohio State in Columbus, planted the flag, which now has caused anarchy everywhere.
Everyone's lost their minds over
Everyone has lost their minds. But that season going into, and I'm trying to remember, I don't think Ohio State made the playoff that year.
I don't think they did.
So based on that,
they lost another game, I think.
But
is that the year they lost to Penn State?
Oh, I don't know. I'll tell you what, it'll be hard for me to effort that. But anyways, long story short, I remember the prognosticators that season really going off, trying to absolve Ohio State of that quote, and I'm doing air quotes if you're not listening to this on I don't wash well, and I scare small children. Barrett Browning from Chris Farley.
Yes.
Steve Anderson checking in also. He's watching rodeo while he listens to us. Good for him. So anyway, long story short, and it'll take me forever to get there, is prognosticators like Herb Street and several others on the mothership and things were really trying to absolve Ohio State for that, quote, early season loss. And basically like it's 2 seasons. Well, it's not. And, you know, what might exemplify that is the Southern Methodist University Ponies. They could be looking at an early season loss without their starting quarterback on the road, or did BYU come to Dallas on that?
No, that was in Provo.
It was in Provo.
At night.
Yeah,
when
at
things
night.
happened there.
where a lot of other teams have lost, and SMU goes into that without their starting quarterback. And
Kevin Jennings played in spots. Preston
yeah,
Stone started that game, and they couldn't get anything going.
yeah. So tough place to play, a very competitive opponent. I don't care what people say about the Big 12, but that could be the doer for SMU if they don't beat Clemson this week.
That's it. They won't get in. They won't get in.
No, and
And Alabama's going to get in. That
Yeah.
loss was 2 weeks ago, 2.5
Mhm.
weeks ago.
dominated.
And it's just like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
They lost to Vandy. They lost to Oklahoma. And who else they lose to?
Vanderbilt. Let's
Vandy.
see.
Oh, Tennessee.
Tennessee on the road.
I can forgive that Tennessee loss in Knoxville, but I can't forgive them for Vandy.
No. Well, and really, you know, take our inobjectivity out of it. You can't excuse them for the loss in Norman.
I could have excused them for losing a close game in Norman just because the level of athletes that are at OU are a lot better than the level of athletes that are at Vandy.
But it's just two teams trending in complete different direction, and they go out and just drop a total turd stone. Marty Wandry checking in. Marty from down at Clinton Liquor. Good evening. What's going on with the OU medical staff? Okay. Let's real quick. Let's finish off playoff poll. The final one comes out this week after championship Saturday. You know, Texas is in. Joe Tessitore guaranteed Georgia's in, even if they lose. That a 3-loss Georgia team's in. Here's the thing. I even with my favorite team, the Oklahoma Sooners in the SEC, Jeremy, I can't get on board with all the gaslighting for all of this SEC stuff.
I do not care about another one of those damn teams.
No, and I will say this. The teams that do get in that aren't SEC teams, you got to beat those SEC teams. You can't let Tennessee or Ole Miss get a win on you in a quarterfinal, or a set first round. I mean, you've got to go beat them, and especially if you got home field advantage. And that's the only way that this tide kind of turns. Hate to use that phrase. It's the only way that this trend kind of turns. I mean, it's okay. So Clemson, loses bad. High tide. Loses bad to Georgia or first game of the season. It's a loss. It's a bad loss, but I base more of how they've played since then on why I would leave Clemson out. So, and then if Miami just handles their business at Syracuse, none of this really is too much of an issue.
Here's my thing, because Miami has a helmet logo kind of like Texas does. Both of them historically about equal, I would say. Miami's got 5 natties. What
glamour
Texas
brands, as the pencil neck calls them.
Well, so Miami gets left out because their schedule is just brutal, awful.
Mm-hmm.
Lost to a couple bad teams.
Mm-hmm.
Texas lost at home to Georgia by 2 scores. If they lose again in a convincing fashion to Georgia in Atlanta, is Texas out? Can you look at their strength of schedule and say that's a playoff team if they have 2 losses?
I mean, if you're taking away, if you're looking at blind resumes, no.
Take the helmet logo out of it.
Take the helmet logo out of it. Look at blind resumes. No, they're not going to get in. Here's the thing. A committee member who saw that resume just plain, the first thing they would say is, "Oh, this must be a Big 12 team."
A 2-loss SMU team has a better resume.
Yeah, they do, and but they're not a glamour brand.
Yep.
Yet. I predict they will be.
Longhorns, dollar signs.
Yeah.
BCS.
Mangino called it, but the thing about it is, I think Ohio State.
They're in.
Yeah, the problem I have, Jeremy, is looking at the resume and looking at everything equal and fair. I would not have Texas in it, but I'll say this: I would probably bet that Texas wins it this year. And it all starts this Saturday against the Georgia Bulldogs, who I think they will beat. And then I don't see. This is amazing to think, Jeremy. It's their defense, because Ewers is a liability to that team. I don't care what he does; he's a liability.
Yeah, but like I said, the first time they played Georgia, that's a whole different ball of wax playing those dudes if they're motivated.
which Georgia team shows up is
exactly.
the kicker,
You know, I mean, Georgia could go out there and run them by 3 scores, or they could freaking lose the game.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any in between there.
Here's the thing, Sankey. I've accused him of it in the past, and you can say I'm a coast to coast AM, listener.
Stop it, Art Bell.
But the thing is I mean, I think there's years where, hey, we know if you lose this, you're still in. How about you let us get another one in or something? Just I don't know, but it's scary to think, what could happen. And hey, if the semifinals ends up being, predominantly SEC, then we know what they were talking about,
Yeah, looking at the man, so the Big 12 has to get somebody in.
Mm-hmm.
Is that gonna? So Arizona State's playing Iowa State this weekend.
Yeah,
they were ranked 15th and 16th in the last CFP poll before the latest bracket came out. Is that right? Or am I looking at whatever's week 15?
Yeah.
Week 15, they've got them 14 or 15 and 16. And I think the last mock bracket I saw had Arizona State as the number 12 team, the 12 seed.
Yeah, taking on Penn State.
Yeah.
And if Oregon beats Penn State, are they out?
Wouldn't Penn State get a bye?
If Penn State wins,
they were in that 5th spot.
If Penn State wins, and that's the spot that everybody says the better, the bigger program teams should look to get into, because somehow they
play a home game.
Yeah. If you're the 5th seed, home game, and then you're taking on the group of 5 champ,
and that will be Boise, probably.
Yeah, unless UNLV, I don't know, maybe even if UNLV did pull something off. But yes, if Penn State wins, then Oregon probably drops to that 5 seed, right?
Yes. Yeah, they're not going to drop far. Man,
so,
Oklahoma City's up 36 points in the 4th quarter.
Oh, wow. So anyways, it's a debacle, and we'll have more on it next week, and we'll have to, in all honesty, we'll have to navigate our schedule next week, because I'll be with Weatherford basketball for 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in your town in Norman. So
look at that.
Maybe between games you could come and we'll just set up an iPad and go live.
So am I just like I don't know, maybe the machines are taking over. We don't want computers to do too much. AI. Don't you think maybe we should fire up the BCS machine?
Oh, yeah.
12 spots.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I will say this. I saw a comparison. This week, there's not that much difference in the BCS computers and what the committee came up with. And, so subjectively, I could say, oh, well, they're doing something right. But then a couple of those little ones in there. And, here's the thing. After Alabama loses by 21, doesn't score an offensive touchdown, doesn't score a touchdown, they were all but done.
Yeah.
But really, I guess in the big picture, that meltdown weekend probably helped them as much as anybody.
Sure. And then, because they got that big hard-fought win over just a salty Auburn team.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Lost on the home field to a terrible Oklahoma team.
Yeah. So anyways, and here's another thing. Arizona State, they're taking on who this week? Is it Iowa State?
Iowa State.
Yeah. So, you had 2 teams in the Big 12 that were considered potential championship contestants or other parts of the season, BYU and Colorado. And then it ends up Arizona State, which kudos to Kenny Dillingham. He's a heck of a coach and got a heck of a program going there. But I did see some rancor from our Texas Tech friends as Cam Scadaboo was named the All Big 12 first team running back, and he has fewer yards than Taj Brooks.
Oh, cry me a river. Remember when Ted Benson won the Doak Walker and Adrian Peterson had about 500 more yards? But because he was a freshman, can't give him the Doak.
Yeah. So all Big 12 first team quarterback Shadur Sanders, running back Cam Scattaboo, and then also R.J. Harvey, UCF. How about Gus Malzahn saying I'm good, guys?
I think he may be tired of the Big 12 grind.
Yeah, that Central Florida post was just a little much for him. Well, and Chip Kelly had to influence that. Jared Casey, that's why I said Casey, fullback. When's the last time a fullback was on the All Big 12 roster?
Don't some of these conferences still reserve a spot for a fullback and have like 14 guys on the first team offense?
But like, when was the last time the Big 12 did so?
I want to say it was probably, oh boy, who was the big fullback that was at OU that called all them? Oh my gosh,
Trey Millard,
wasn't Trey Millard, Mike McKinley. No, I don't.
JD Reynolds,
That could have been JD. I'm thinking
Seth Luttrell.
No, I think no.
All right, so wide receiver Tetroya McMillan. Did I say that? How do you say that? Tetroya. McMillan, the big receiver for the Cats. Jordan Tyson, Arizona State, and Travis Hunter. This is just offense as well. So Travis Hunter, all conference wide receiver. Tight end Joe Royer and Brant. I don't know. I'd say his name. I didn't watch a Utah game that close. Leigh Fontenot, Arizona State. Luke Kendra, Cincinnati. Anyways, a bunch of linemen. BYU, Utah with 2 first-team all-offense.
And they fired their coordinator.
Yeah, and then BYU with a place kicker, and Iowa State with a kick returner. So, anyways, but Big 12, I mean, they're one team in this season, right? There's no getting past that.
No,
it's the champ, and then nobody else.
And then that's it.
All right.
I mean, you went down to the last weekend of the regular season, and I think 15 of the 16 teams were still involved in some sort of tiebreaker.
Yes, they were.
Did you see that bracket they played during the Iowa State game? It was literally it could have been like advanced calculus. I couldn't decide for a thing that was going on up there.
Well, in these 16-team conferences, you've got to go divisions.
It's too much. You must go divisions.
Yeah, you got to go divisions, and and the SEC needs to be playing 9 conference games.
Yep.
So just figure it out. But all right, so the playoff that will be next Tuesday, or actually no, it'll be Sunday. The final reveal, and then bowl invitations will be sent out. We'll see where OU is going to go.
Frisco Bowl.
So this week, a pretty hectic week for Brent Venables and the OU Sooners after that LSU debacle. New offensive coordinator Ben Arbuckle comes in. Automatically, he steals a 3-star quarterback away from Oklahoma State. I'm not going to attempt his name right now.
Jet New.
Okay. So obviously a target, I guess, that he had on his radar from before. There's talk about the Mateer kid who's at Washington State, who had a monster year, maybe following his former offensive coordinator.
It was kind of weird. It was like the Dylan Gabriel thing that they announced Ben Arbuckle, and then within an hour, he had announced he's going in the portal. So I don't know. I don't want to read the tea leaves and say he's definitely coming, but they should make it happen.
Yeah. So whatever's happened has, prompted Jackson Arnold to enter his name into the transfer portal, which I think we said back in the weeks that he was benched that, he'll end up with Lebby down at Mississippi State. But I've heard his name on Twitter tossed around with potentially going to Georgia. I mean,
yeah, he's sought after, and I can see why, just the upside that he has.
Yeah.
But he's got a turnover issue.
He's a turnover machine. I mean, and he's got to fix that. But anyway, Marty did ask about what's going on with the OU med staff. Now, I guess this in reference to Nick Anderson throwing his name in the portal, and then maybe some scuttlebutt around how things were handled with him this season. Is that fair to say?
I guess. I mean, I don't know. It all seemed like it was one side of the football, didn't it?
I mean, your whole
You had your
receiver
odd
core
well, you had your odd defensive player kind of miss a game like Deshaun McCullough and well, Gentry Williams missed the whole season, but
didn't
that's
Kendall
not
Dolby break something in a game?
that's not on the Med staff.
Yeah,
He
and
had a
injuries
tib fib.
in a game. I'm not too big on that, but
But
uh,
then another one of the kids that entered the portal, Emeka Megwa,
mhm,
his injury was just blatantly mishandled at Washington.
mhm.
He came to OU and rehab for 2 years, and now he's stepping
He's
out
out.
with 3
Yeah,
years, 3 years remaining.
Jaquays Petaway checking out. I don't
Kind of
know.
saw that coming.
Yeah,
Caleb Hicks.
Caleb Hicks as well.
I
Those are
don't think I don't think DeMarco Murray even knows who those two guys are.
so. Does Andrell Anthony stay with the team, or should we? Do you think we'll
I
see
don't even want
pop
I
up?
don't even want to make a prediction. Somebody hopefully does. It'd be nice for
So,
them to have some targets that have been there for longer than 15 minutes.
what's your percentage on these portal entries? Just Nick Anderson. What's the percentage chance that it's the school letting him know, hey, if you might want to go look somewhere else. We've got
I
somebody
don't
else.
think I don't think with Nick Anderson, the guy was a beast when he was healthy, but he hadn't been healthy.
Yeah,
I mean, is he
I don't
taking
know.
the Anderson family fragility on the road? I've heard that he might go to Texas.
Yeah, I mean,
I will punch the air if he goes to Texas.
would they take him though? I mean, he did throw the dagger. Of course, they made the playoff anyway last season.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's a good enough player. The kid's dynamite when he's healthy.
yeah. Dan Narva checking in from Michigan. Halftime in Detroit. He's got his Law Dog shirt on also. Marty Wandry says that's why they said Nick Anderson was going the portal. Yeah. I saw a few things here and there. Jeremy, it's such an odd world with social media and Twitter because you've got so many, quote, insiders really trying to break stuff, really trying to knock something out of the park for themselves. And I mean, until something's concrete, I don't know.
He must not have watched any film to see, Ben Arbuckle able to scheme guys open.
Yeah. Max Patton out in Sayre, America, checking in says Dean Blevins said tonight at 6 on News 9 there are more receivers leaving, but he wouldn't say names. Well, Dean's
Okay,
trying
I'll
to stay
say
relevant.
names. Deion Burks, Andrell Anthony. Who else missed time this year?
The Gibbs kid
Gibbs.
or Gibson,
Yeah, Jaden Gibson.
Jaden
There
Gibson.
you go. There's some names to look for. They're going to bolt.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
We've said this in this day and age.
Mhm.
Receivers are interchangeable, and
Well, yeah,
6 foot, 180 guys running around all over the place.
and they're useless if you can't block. So I mean,
they're useless if you can't scheme them open.
well, yeah, that's true. That's too, and I don't know. I would love to see those guys stay. I would love to see those guys. I mean, you don't want to lose guys
No.
unless there's reason to see visibly that they need to go.
Yeah.
I mean, we get about 4 games with Andrell Anthony.
I don't think we got that.
Yeah, I mean, he was out by the Texas game.
He played. Did he
Right?
play 2 games this year? Last year he was out by the Texas game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember. I'd have to look at the stats, but I don't remember him suiting up or being active.
I think he was eligible for a red shirt this season.
Uh-huh.
Obviously Gibson, Farouk, maybe.
Yeah,
Because he broke his foot in the first game and then played 1 game, so I think he's eligible for a red shirt.
sure.
Wouldn't mind him coming back. He's the type of receiver that is great in an air raid scheme.
So that leaves what the Jacob what's the kid's name that came in?
Jacob Jordan,
Jacob Jordan, freshman kid.
Yvonne Carry-On.
Hester could develop into somebody.
He's been in college for 12 and a half years.
Is he out?
He might be. I don't know.
I don't know.
Brennan Thompson is, may stay around.
Yeah, the
Here's a
Connor
speedster.
Connor Carr checks in. The portal sucks unless it's playing time. They shouldn't leave. Man, you're preaching to the choir. I mean,
Hey,
coaches as well.
the biggest, Saban talked about the media spreading rat poison. The biggest rat poison to the game that we all love that are on these airways right now is the transfer portal and unrestricted free agency. Every single day those kids are on campus. It is absolute garbage. It's poison. It's terrible. It's going to kill the game.
Yeah, I mean they have to figure out a way to make these NIL contracts a little more binding. You can't just take money and go. I mean, because
good Lord.
Here's the thing: do you think Nick Anthony did not get paid for this season?
Well, they do their NILs based on where they slot him as far as dang it. You're at levels. He was the highest level as from what I'm being told as far as their NIL goes. So he made probably close to 6 figures or 7 figures as a receiver.
Yeah.
And he didn't earn it this year, but it's not his fault. He was hurt.
Well, I mean, but still, okay. So we had you on contract. You were hurt. You didn't live up to your contract. You got to live up to it this season. I mean, like you said. I mean, it is rat poison. It's ruining the game, and we'll see what happens. But as far as
here's the big result from this, Chuck. Oklahoma has hired the former CEO and chairman of AT&T to come in and act as the director of football operations, working closely with President Harris and Joe Castiglione. He's basically going to be the CEO of the football program. They're going to have a general manager, and they're going to run it like an NFL team. Yeah. That's where we're at. $20.5 million in new NIL spending on top of probably already the 20 they spent this last year. It is bonkers.
Yeah. It's just crazy, and transitioning from the portal, because I looked in the portal tracker, I didn't see anybody targeting OU right now out of the portal, but I know that they'll have more work to do. But let's see, let's do a comment real quick. Marty Wandry said Hester is done. Connor Carr, I was reading today that Arkansas only pays 20% of NIL money out in the offseason. First I've ever heard of that. So I don't know. Maybe that's pretty smart, really.
I guess.
Look how much Iowa was out for that lineman that bounced back between them and Alabama.
Yeah, it is just, it's stupid. It's stupid. I'm for, let's just go, hey, you know what? Nobody gets paid unless it's under the table, and I don't want to know about it, and I don't care. Yeah, I liked it the way it was. It was fine.
Yeah,
and you can transfer one time free, and after that, you have to sit a year. No transfers in conference.
Yeah, and I mean, and to his credit, and he's having his own issues. Muleshoe, Lincoln Riley said that in this first season, I think at USC, is they've got to have some guardrails when it comes to these, to these NIL deals and transfer portal. You cannot expect football programs to maintain, any sort of stability or any sort of progress if you've got, I mean, especially if you're the mid majors.
Sure. And another, I was talking about the OU running it like a NFL team. It's going to free up the coaches to coach. Yeah. They're not going to be focused on recruiting and, heads elsewhere, which is just, it's ridiculous that these guys have to re-recruit their roster on a daily basis. Just stop. Yeah. Fix it now before we just turn the TV off.
It's pretty crazy. And, but I know with the signing class, everything was kind of positive coming out of the Fasusi signing after he had visited A&M in Texas.
That's a good O-line class that Coach B put together.
They got to have it. I mean,
Fasusi and the Foje kid, both of them could play day one. Yeah.
Trying to look up the full signing list.
Oh, I think I actually have that tab open on the. Why do I have a LeBron interview going on there? Gross. Well, let's go to Sooner Sports.
Yeah.
So You got to go see C.J. Nixon signing tomorrow, yeah?
Yeah, CJ Nixon will be signing his letter of intent to go play at Oklahoma for Brent Venables and the OU Sooner football team tomorrow at 9:30 at the Weatherford Gym. And I tell you, Jeremy, it's been a busy week and a half. I had a young lady, Marley Teasley, invite me to her signing day event for softball. She's going to Grand Canyon University and going to be a lope or a antelope, I guess they are. And then earlier in the week, it was Harley Chisholm, who is a Florida State softball commit and widely heralded as one of the, if not the top player in the state here in Oklahoma. The one of the top two, and Marley Teasley could probably be considered the other half of that. But the Class 4A state champion Weatherford Eagles, Lady Eagles fast pitch, really showing out. So I go to Harley Chisholm signing the other day for her Florida State commitment, and then today it was Tate Sage, a 6'7" swing guard or swingman who committed to Drake University. So, and then tomorrow's CJ, and who knows who will be next week.
Well, that's awesome. Good for those kids.
Weatherford Eagles, baby.
I'm getting a little irritated with Sooner Sports right now. I cannot find the signing class.
Did Gavin Sawchuk get in the portal?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to find just on Twitter the tweet, even the tweets that they put out, and something I probably should have printed out before I got on the air, but you know how I am.
I do.
So, anyways, but Fasusi comes along, and then man, they have really tapped into Carl Albert in the Midwest City Middale School District, and several players coming from there. Sean Hutton, an offensive center from Louisville, Texas. So
he is a teammate of Michael Fasusi.
I was going to say teammate of Fasusi.
I've got the list right here.
Go ahead with it.
All right, we got Darius Afalava, offensive lineman from Lehi, Utah. He's a 3-star interior offensive lineman. Torrey Blaylock, a running back from Humble, Texas. We love our running backs from Humble, Texas. That's right outside of Houston.
Right.
He goes from there.
Quentin Griffin.
Phew.
Is he Aldine Nimitz?
It just says Humble, Texas.
Okay.
I don't have a link here. I'm just pulling this up.
Okay.
Emmanuel Choice, wide receiver from Lancaster, Texas.
Now, he was a big get.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Did we flip him from somebody, or was somebody closing in late on him?
Somebody was closing late on him, but he stayed the course.
Yeah.
You got the Fasusi signing, Ryan Foje, another 4-star offensive lineman from Cypress, Texas. Cortland Guillory, safety for Spring, Texas. Many people say he's probably one of the better safeties in the class.
Houston area safety, I'll take it.
Of course, another Hawkins kid, cornerback from McKinney. Little brother Malik.
Mm-hmm.
Tristan Hayes, cornerback from Oklahoma City, Carl Albert.
Yeah.
Owen Hollenbeck, a 3-star offensive lineman from Melissa, Texas. Marcus James, linebacker from Carl Albert.
Yeah.
CJ Nixon from Weatherford.
CJ.
Jet New, quarterback from Lehi, Utah. You know how we love our quarterbacks from Utah here in Norman.
Or at least no junior college.
Yeah. Marion Robinson, safety from Little Rock, Arkansas. So you got someone to root for here, Connor. Yeah. Alexander Shield Knight, defensive end, Wagner, Oklahoma.
Wagner kid. He's a gamer. He's been hurt.
Yep. Elijah Thomas, wide receiver from Chakotah.
Mm-hmm.
Trine Washington, athlete, Oklahoma City. I believe he's another Carl Albert kid.
Yeah, I think so.
Trent Wilson, D lineman, Upper Marlboro, Maryland. He was a good get, 4-star kid, big kid. Comparisons, Grayson Halton.
Ooh, yeah.
And Grayson Halton turned out to be a pretty daggone good defensive lineman this year.
Very nice.
And then Marcus Wimberly, a safety from, I want to say, Bauxite, Arkansas. Connors, you can tell me if that's right or not. So we got 2 Arkansas kids.
Sure it's Beaushite or Bausate or something like that.
So it's they signed 17 kids. It's a light class because you got to remember they took 27 last year and 27 the year before.
Yeah,
the majority of the team are freshmen and sophomores. It is a young team. Last class was dynamite.
Here's a funny thing, Jeremy, and sorry to cut you off, but um, you know, it's just funny. It's just funny that this portal stuff. I mean, there will still be signing classes. There will still be high school kids
Mhm.
signing, but the portal stuff may take the thunder away from a lot of these recruiting gurus. I mean, do you think anybody that's covering OU
Yeah,
that's a recruiting guy is real? I mean, can they put out a ton of content on a number 17 ranked class with that few signees? I mean, it's tough.
yeah, I know it is. And it's I, I don't I don't believe it's going to be like this every year. Yeah, I do realize that they took fewer because they want to get some older guys through the portal,
Yeah.
just so they have some, veteran depth in places, especially the offensive line. Right now, wide receiver, a quarterback, maybe a running back. There's a good-looking kid from Washington that had about 860 yards as a true freshman last year that's going to go in the portal. Wouldn't mind seeing him suit up in Norman.
They've offered Luke McGarry, Tulsa University tight end.
I
And
was
he's
when I
got
saw
several other
that.
offers.
Yeah, when I saw that, I just like, really, we're doing this again. But he's been offered by some big programs. I hope.
He's played under Kevin Wilson.
Yes,
I'll trust it.
he had
And
200 yards receiving last year on a 3-9 team. I'm not
it's not
super.
it's not firing me up, but I mean, if
Yeah,
they see something that they like, I mean, I think OU and maybe there was only a couple of Power Five offers he had, Power Four.
yeah, and they were.
I mean, he got some Texas State and some maybe Washington. I think
Yeah,
Washington
Washington,
offered.
and gosh, another SEC team might have offered him, or a Big Ten
Was it
team, but
Auburn?
yeah, it was Auburn.
I thought so. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I'm not real fired up about it. Like I said, the numbers aren't there. I'm not. I wasn't real fired up about old 10 when he got when they brought him in,
Yeah.
because he played D2 last year, and then they
For
tried to
good
make him the
reason.
focal point of the offense.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, and he's the leading receiver on this season.
And that is just, and that's how brutal it's been, because he's got like 380 yards.
Well, yeah, Deion Burks was more than that before he got hurt in what, game 4? I
Yeah,
mean,
Texas game.
yeah, it's just crazy, and hopefully he's recovering well from that vicious hit he took.
Ooh, Green Bay just took the lead.
We're gonna retweet a tweet from KREF, and I don't care what the guy on the one station in Oklahoma City that carries my same surname says. KREF is the flagship station for OU football. I mean, the only thing the other station has is the rights to broadcast the games.
Your cousin over there?
Yeah, but Bob Stoops is on the rush today. I'll listen to that. I'll listen to that later, but
All right.
he's talking about meeting Ben Arbuckle. So the offensive coordinator Ben Arbuckle comes in from Washington State. He's worked with two quarterbacks who have had astounding years: Cam Ward last season at Pullman, and then the Mateer kid today. Who's the third?
Bailey Zappi.
Yeah,
Yep.
at Houston Baptist, right?
Yep.
It's so funny, Jeremy, because the minute you talk about Bailey Zappi and Houston Baptist, Corey Hogue just pops into my head because
Yeah. We talked
he-
about Bailey Zappi
we
a
talked
lot when he
about
was
Bailey
down there, and
Zappi
when
a
he was at
lot.
Incarnate Word. Or was it Incarnate Word? Where he
No, Houston Baptist,
no, he transferred somewhere else and had another season, didn't he?
Western Kentucky.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was a
Yeah,
hilltopper.
yeah. And Kitley, who's at Tech now, I think he transferred. I think Kitley took the job at Western Kentucky, and Bailey Zappi went there. But if I remember right, Houston Baptist gave Tech all they wanted to in Lubbock.
And Cam Ward didn't have a lot of stars next to his name when he went to Washington State,
No,
but Arbuckle developed him.
yeah, and it's we're back to the air raid. So for
They
whatever
ran the
that
ball
is,
51% of the time last year at Washington State.
sure, and that's what a good offensive coordinator does. If you've got a good back and a good run and blocking line, you're going to run the ball.
Yeah, he said the perfect thing at his introductory press conference. He said the personnel is going to drive the scheme. All right, I'm good.
Wow.
I'm good. Let's do it.
sorry to detour here, but Connor Carr really taking some shots at me tonight. First, he says I can't run a printer. Then he does commend you on saying bauxite right. He says that's literally finding a diamond in the rough.
Yep.
That's out in the boonies. And then he says they're both bald. It adds up. Is he talking about me and the other Ramsey in
TV's
Oklahoma City
Ramsey?
radio?
I believe so.
Thanks.
You got to get you you got to get you a, what's that stupid little hat? I know what it's called, but I can't say it on these airways.
What?
A scally cap.
Oh, yeah. Dan Narvis
Also
already
referred to
played
as
Western Kentucky when Zappy and buddies were there. They were able to move the ball quite well. He's a competent offensive coordinator. But, as much as we said Luttrell had to go and it played out, Bill Bedenbaugh's on notice. He has to be.
He does. The line did improve. And I know they kept trying to plug Spencer Brown in there just because it was a bodies thing. But Howland and Ozeda, they made leaps and bounds this year. And playing next to each other, they were pretty good. And next year's the big year for those guys. Fabechi Nwewu, who very quietly had a good year. No one talked about him because he was the one, constant on the line. He played every single game.
Mm-hmm.
They got to shore up that right tackle spot, and they got to figure out a center.
It looked like, we have one game to go on. And really, even in some of that slump, you would see signs of at least being able to pound the ball with Javonte Barnes.
They had enough nasty to move the ball on the ground.
Somewhat, yeah. They weren't going to bust anything out for a big chunk, but the key to running the ball in the SEC is wearing down a defense in the second half, and I don't think they really gave them a chance to stick with it long enough to do so.
They did in one game, and look what happened.
Yeah, and it worked out well, and but that's why I texted you Saturday night. It's like, since we can't complete a forward pass, why don't we give Hawkins a run? See if he can't break something. He did against Auburn.
Yeah, and my argument for putting Hawkins out there is you've already basically destroyed the confidence of one kid. His last start was a disaster.
Yeah.
Just let him sit over there.
But wasn't his last start with the former offensive coordinator?
Sure. But you got to remember the game before that, he was throwing the ball away on fourth down. He did it more than I think he did it twice.
Yeah.
Throw it 50 yards downfield, let him intercept it. Who cares? It's a punt.
Yeah. Well, and so back on Ben Arbuckle, it'll be interesting to see, what he does going into it. He's got the offensive. They're losing some running backs, but I don't. That's just kind of depth picks, Plus, when Mikey Henderson transfers back in, it's going to be all good for you.
Bring it.
If you're listening to this on a podcast episode, Jeremy just clenched both fists and looked extremely excited at the mention of Mikey Henderson.
Bring Mikey Henderson back. I'm in for it.
Speaking of Zach Kitley, and he has been at Texas Tech the last couple of years, he had a lot of great things to say about Ben Arbuckle, about his time at Houston Baptist, being a volunteer, putting in the hours, really work. The guy is so young.
He is.
What, not even 30?
He's 29 years old.
Okay.
But
that's not 30, by the way.
Yeah, I know. But the defensive coordinator is only 30.
Yeah.
And the defense did take strides this year. The front seven was great.
Yeah.
They got to shore up that back end. I don't know what that is. Do you hire a new secondary coach?
I don't know. Is it Jimmy's and Joe's or X's and O's? I don't know.
You got to think they got Jimmy's and Joe's, especially the Bowen kids and Billy Bowman.
Eli Bowen showed a lot of promise after a full year, I think, and then all the bowl practices and this and that. He's going to be great. Man, going up against the receivers he did in those last two games. That was a trial by fire.
And that one, man, that was a perfect ball, and he had good coverage. Just dropped it right in the bucket. You can't do much more than that.
And then, he's saved by penalty against the Williams kid from Alabama. Mm-hmm. And hey, that's part of the game,
But that Williams kid made an amazing play, and Bowen was right where he's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but he's promising. And then they'll have some edge players. That they'll have. I mean, Ethan Downs will be gone.
Yeah,
It'll be some recuperating, but I mean, there has to be more promise for next season than this season, right?
there does. I mean, they got some big, good-looking athletes at that edge position. PJ Adebawore.
They're
Who
going to be
knows?
facing.
I don't know if
Maybe.
R. Mason Thomas is coming back. He may have made himself some money in that LSU game when
He
he got
could,
killed. Nussmeier.
all season long.
He wore that all SEC tackle out. That's probably going to win the first round.
Oh yeah. So R. Mason Thomas, just an amazing player. But
who was the other? There's another edge kid that they brought in. That's just. I mean, they all look like they were created in a lab from the same mold.
Well, I'm telling you, I met Ethan Downs in person one time in my life. I interviewed him for a podcast episode the first year I was at Wright Media in Weatherford, and he came in the studio. We took a picture, and my gosh, he's so massive.
I know, and he's not even the most physically impressive looking kid they got playing that position, which is crazy.
And I'm not a small guy. I mean, I'm 6 foot 240, and he's a
big old boy.
Max Patton DBs can't get better when they don't have any practice again. So, but
you may be onto something there, Max.
Here's the thing, Max. I to counter your point, why wasn't the offensive line better? I mean, our starting left tackle should be getting snaps and ones on ones versus R. Mason Thomas. What gives, man?
You're not going to play anybody better than that.
No, and our front seven is that, like you said, front seven is elite. Put them up against anybody. Back in, not so much. But anyway, OSU fires Brian Nardo and Casey Dunn, the defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator. So now Mike Gundy cleans house and gets to go restart. I tell you, a piece that he may have coming his way, Jeremy, is son Gunnar Gundy has entered the transfer portal from Emporia State. So,
oh my gosh.
I tell you, and another potential hire he could look at, and one that might be near and dear to you, buddy, is Eric Bieniemy, as he's been let go from UCLA.
I don't think that's going to happen. Heck, Mike Gundy may not have a job after tomorrow morning. They have an emergency meeting of the Board of Regents tomorrow morning to discuss the football
gracious.
program. So.
Yeah. Max Patton comments, touche. I really wasn't going at you, Max, but just using that logic, we had to think that the offensive line could have got better with some ones-on-ones. Then I guess they're losing an offensive lineman to the portal, Caleb Etienne, 6'7", 330, but he came in and was expected to contribute and never could beat out basically a walk-on guy, I think. And it's just you could not script up, and I don't hate OSU. I've not appreciated a lot of their lip after winning the final Bedlam for now, but I don't wish bad upon them. You couldn't script if you hated OSU. You could not have scripted a better season.
Hey, Alan Bowman got his 8th year of eligibility today, so.
I thought I saw that and the feed refreshed and I couldn't find it. And I was like, I could have swore I saw something about Bowman, but I couldn't. I didn't have the heart to search it. That's how bad. 8 years of eligibility. What gives, man? I mean,
he needs to start selling insurance.
I mean,
come on, man.
Okay, so you've been to Tech, and obviously Michigan. Your best years at Tech were when you were young.
Nobody was playing for Cliff.
Yeah, and then you go to Michigan, and then was it Cliff or no? It wasn't Cliff, was it?
Yeah, it was Cliff. Cliff got fired, and then was it Joey?
I thought he
came in, and that's when he transferred because he sat for a year.
Oh, Cliff. Yeah. When Cliff was head coach. Sorry. Yeah. So did he have a season under Matt Wells?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The season he sat all year was under Matt Wells because he brought in was it Shook? Shook was it? They ran the hair raid.
I think it was
with the Yost.
Yeah,
I said Ned Yost. No, that wasn't his name. Yeah,
Ned Yost. David, didn't it?
David Yost. Yeah, hair raid.
Was it Yost at Mizzou for a while?
Oh, he might have been.
I thought he was on.
These guys are everywhere. It's like. Arkansas's head coach. What's his name?
Pittman.
Sam Pittman. I did. He was the line coach at OU.
Yeah, Barry
didn't even know it.
Reminded us of that. Good comments tonight, and man, we appreciate everybody jumping on there. But like I said, you couldn't script a better. If you hated the Oklahoma State University football team, you could not script a better season because they have just been a disaster. And I don't know enough about their recruiting signing class to throw a comment in there. I know they got a good lineman, maybe a 4-star lineman, but I mean, they just basically, Jeremy, you fire a defensive coordinator and an offensive coordinator. Those guys haven't been long tenured there. They neither one have been there very long. Knowles has been gone 3 years?
What's the OC's name? Dunn?
Casey Dunn.
He's been there for 9 years. Started as receiver.
Has it been 9?
Yeah, he's been there for a while.
Wow. Nondescript.
And you would think that being there so long, like Alan Bowman, he's only been there 3 years. They could have done a little better on the offensive side with game planning and audibles and kills and check with me's and things like that. It would seem like they were just going to let Alan Bowman try to beat people this year. And you
terrible concept when you have Ollie Gordon, in the backfield.
Yeah.
And they couldn't run him open. I don't know, I mean, against the bad teams, they couldn't.
Did he even crack 1,000 yards this year?
Oh, I think you might have. I don't know. But just a terrible season for OSU, and hopefully, the thing is, Oklahoma needs the state of Oklahoma needs Mike Gundy to keep that job. Now, will he? I don't know, but I think Oklahoma needs him. They need that kind of stability in this state, considering that OU and TU made the change this year. OU could be a year or two down the road if things don't improve.
And here's the thing. Oklahoma, Brent Venables has single-handedly killed a lot of Oklahoma State's recruiting because he recruits Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Lincoln didn't recruit Oklahoma. He couldn't care less if there were good players in this state. They weren't flashy enough for him.
What was the tweet I put out earlier in the week about? It was from I know what it was. I retweeted the page ML Football. When they were one of the first tweets I saw talking about the OJ bodyguard and the recordings.
That's fantastic.
But then also now they're putting out that Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers' ex-girlfriend Shailene Woodley says he caused her to lose her soul, happiness, and joy in life. Well, she can join thousands upon thousands of Jets fans.
They didn't have a soul, happiness, or a life anyways.
Oh, gosh. So bad. But no, transitioning from OSU to, overall recruiting, you're right. And I love Oklahoma getting Oklahoma kids. Look at Jason White and Sam Bradford. Oklahoma kids. White may be a higher end recruit than Bradford was, but
they were both 3-star kids.
Sure, and
a lot of these kids are only 3 stars because they're playing in Oklahoma.
Exactly. So I mean, find those guys. Ryan Broyles.
He was
Oklahoma kid. I mean,
yeah.
Yes, there are a lot of Texas kids. There are California kids. Cherry picked from the East Coast. Florida is always a good place to get. But, I mean, find those guys from Oklahoma that come in and make an impact.
Sure. Tight ends. Most of those guys, Steven Alexander,
Gresham.
Jason Gresham. Yeah, Ardmore.
Yeah.
Who was just
figured out, that they said that Arbuckle was from Canadian Texas. I remembered who. It wasn't Brody Eldridge. It was Austin English.
Oh, man, that guy was that dude was a good player.
Defensive end from Canadian Texas really was a big contributor.
33, yeah.
Eldridge was from Kansas. So I had those two confused. All right, so NFL this weekend. Oh, real quick, and on another note, and hopefully I got my fantasy team all kind of squared away before this game tonight, but you never know. I am really hemorrhaging on my fantasy picks, and on my fantasy team. And I tell you, Jeremy, so much of it has to do with too dang many 49ers on my squad. How that worked out, I don't know.
Man, what I heard a crazy rumor that the Bears may offer compensation to the 49ers for Shanahan.
Man, I'll just say this, Jeremy. The the Bears, I mean, Shanahan, he's not a winner.
Okay, stay
No.
with me here. Stay. No, no, no. I'm not disputing that fact.
Okay.
But he's a good enough coach that he can come in there, he can develop Caleb Williams, he can win a bunch of football games. He's done all he can do with San Francisco. Okay, McCaffrey, great player, but I believe he's peaked. Injuries are going to start to be a norm for him. You're paying him way too much money.
Can I give you a laundry list of reasons?
Oh, I mean, he can't call. He's a choker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest one. I mean, 28-3. 2 Super Bowl losses to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
One with the most handsome quarterback to ever walk the planet.
Oh God, Jimmy G,
the
big oily bohunk, your doppelganger. Let's see. Connor Carr had a comment. Coach is a loose term for him. I guess was that about the Gundy, or is that?
I think he's talking about Sam Pittman.
Oh, Pittman. Marty Wandry said Chuck's running back is out and no kicker. Thanks for me, Marty. And then
I'll trade
Connor says
Baker Mayfield for Harrison Butker.
Yeah, really. Connor Carr says it might have been not drafting a running back until the 10th round, Chuck. Well, here in all transparency, we were at a birthday party at a local watering hole in Weatherford, and I should have just said auto draft. Honestly, I would have done better if I would just did the auto draft. Casey Scamhorn is just going to mop the floor with me this week, but whatever. It looks kind of bad if the guy who put the league together wins it, doesn't it?
I think so.
I mean, last year MJ Baird won it down in Wichita Falls. He got a Law Dog T-shirt out of it, but we gave away more than we sold, so it's hard to say. But here's my laundry list on Kyle Shanahan, and I get it. If he needs a change and the Bears need a coach, fine. Why wouldn't they just go after Muleshoe? He works with Caleb.
Take
a flyer on him because
it won't be Muleshoe.
Okay, so
because it'll be Cliff,
mid receiver at University of Texas in his playing days.
Sure.
Right. On teams that were super excellently talented. That's not a word I know, but really super talented and always underperformed against their arch rival. Right.
Uh-huh.
Coordinator
of the
25
coordinator of the
28-3 breakdown
ever in Super Bowl history.
25-point lead given up. Goes to San Francisco, turns them around for the most part, but can't win the big one, and then is overseeing the steady decline where they have paid so much money, and he's not GM. I get that. That's on Lynch. But he's paid so much money to players that they can't fill up other spots.
No, and that's another reason.
And I love Trent Williams, but he's at the tail end, bud. I mean,
yeah. and they're going to have to clean house from top to bottom there. Lynch needs to go.
Oh, yeah.
They need to bring somebody in that focuses on youth and good contracts.
And on top of that, why couldn't he develop Trey Lance?
I don't know. I don't think they ever did. They focus on it?
No.
It seemed like he got hurt 3 games into his career, and Brock Purdy came in and took off, and that was that.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and I get that he had some bad luck in that NFC championship game where Purdy goes down and then Philly just kind of stomps him.
Yeah, and some of these guys, Andy Reid was one of them. Couldn't win the big game. Couldn't get past the NFC championship game. Finally get to the Super Bowls
under Shanahan. He's 2 Super Bowls with Shanahan.
He's 2-0 against Shanahan. Yeah. But, Mike Shanahan was another one. Maybe the change of scenery will awaken something in him. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know,
mean,
but you know what? He's better than what they've had. And they need somebody that could
sure.
come in, will run a quarterback friendly system, get Caleb Williams' head back where it should be, and then see what happens.
We know Shaq
Don't
said
go
no
after
coach.
Cliff Kingsbury because he's failed everywhere he's been except
Oh,
as
no,
a
no,
coordinator.
no.
But that's the name they're throwing out there.
Speaking of Muleshoe, did you hear that who was it? Was it Feldman reported it that Central Florida is
I
putting out
giggled.
inquiries?
I snort laughed, and then saw that Bruce Feldman had tweeted it out, and I was like, "Oh damn, that's got legs a little bit. Something might happen there."
Then he gave the whole "I'm not going to be the coach at LSU next season"
That's
speech.
right.
So that
I
means
mean,
he's going somewhere else.
he can go back to the fertile grounds of the Big 12 where he dominated, and not have to worry about those pesky winter road games, except when they go to Iowa State.
Ooh, yeah.
Duck the SEC and get out of the Big 10.
Another name that popped up for OSU on their offensive coordinator job was Zach Robinson, the former OSU quarterback.
Yeah.
He's been with the Falcons.
Is he the OC with the Falcons?
Oh, I saw it earlier, and I wish I had some memory issue. Wish I didn't have memory issues.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that for them.
I hate Zach. I hate guys named Zach that only spell their name ZAC.
It seems lazy, doesn't it?
It's extreme.
Where's the H?
lazy.
Give me an
Yeah.
H or a K. Just
Okay,
something.
You're not.
I mean, you know, you could put like a
ZAC.
little circle or a chevron over it. We could call him Zash.
And then also, it's been rumored about that the kid from UNLV, Marion,
Oh, Brennan Marion.
may be on the radar.
He's probably
Yeah,
making more
offensive
money
coordinator
at,
for the Atlanta Falcons.
I guess that's you go from coaching Kirk Cousins, Bijan Robinson to
Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts is garbage. He's my fantasy tight end. That guy, I hate him.
Hey,
I hate him so much.
Now you know how I feel about Likely and Kelsey.
Yeah, I picked up Schoonmaker from the Cowboys one week, and he had a better week that one week than Pitts has had all year.
Texas State offensive coordinator Mac Leftwich is going to be the new offensive coordinator in Lubbock after Kitley takes the FAU job.
He's had 2 straight years of top 15 offenses. That's a good get in Lubbock.
I gotta wonder why he wasn't on the radar in Norman. Texas
Arbuckle.
That's great. We'll see. I mean,
we love our West Texas air raid guys here. You know that.
Yeah, Seminole and then
so he can
from Canadian.
In 6 or 7 years, he can slide the knife in our back and move on somewhere else.
Thanks, Leach. What a coaching tree.
I know, man.
I mean, as far as the college ranks, for sure.
Sure. Well, I mean, he's got a couple guys in the NFL.
Yeah.
Cliff.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's real quick and transition as we've got just a few minutes left here. Scoreboard update looks like Detroit is leading Green Bay 24-21 in the third quarter. It's a final in New Orleans. The Suns beat the Pelicans 124-126. OKC has gone final over Toronto 129-92. And, it was pretty cool on a Thanksgiving weekend, Jeremy, to see the Thunder do away with the Lakers in the in the play-in turn or the mid-season tournament, or what is it called?
The mid-season tournament, the NBA Cup.
In-season tournament. Sorry, yeah, the Emirates NBA Cup.
Oh boy,
are you gonna blow up if there's a Loves logo on the Thunder jerseys?
There already is one.
Oh, I'm sorry,
the Sooners jersey. That's where we're going, right?
Oh, totally.
I mean, Japanese baseball's been doing it for decades.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: British soccer.
Mm-hmm.
The team crest is the small patch. The sponsor gets the big, gets the big logo across the chest. So
if Loves could just make the background of it white,
and
put no yellow, I won't mind it. I don't want the yellow there.
Yeah,
it's a perfect traditional uniform.
Yeah.
Please don't muck it up with your ugly ass logo.
Yeah, for sure. Connor Carr brings up a good point. SEC basketball looked good in the SEC versus ACC Challenge. OU got a good win over Georgia Tech.
Yep.
Arkansas did not win in theirs, if I remember right, or did they?
Man, I think they only lost 2 ball games, and Kentucky and Auburn were the 2 that lost.
Okay, so Auburn got the win, and then I
Yep.
watched the Duke
No,
Auburn
Auburn
game last
lost.
night.
Arkansas
Man,
won.
that kid Cooper Flag, he is really, really good.
It's going to look good in Thunder Blue, isn't he?
I was gonna say, what's the chances that Presti works, gaslights somebody into giving him the flag pick?
He might have already done it. If the Clippers just fall apart, they could end up with that number 1 pick, and OKC owns it.
So what do they need? Bradley Beal to go down.
Bradley.
Yeah, Arkansas beat Miami, Florida 76-73 the other night or last night. No, 2 nights ago. So yeah, and man, OU looks good. I mean, they played pretty well in that Georgia Tech game.
Pump the brakes.
Huh?
Pump the brakes.
Pump the brakes?
Pump the brakes.
Started out
until
this
conference
last
season
year.
starts. We're cautiously optimistic because every year that Porter's been there, they've been really good out of conference, and then when conference season starts, they just
But they're out of the
perform.
Big 12. It's going to be easier.
No, it's not. With Kentucky and Auburn and Arkansas and Texas and
Paper giant.
Alabama's got a good team.
It ain't like going to Waco on a Monday night, pal.
It ain't like going to Allen Field. At least they won't have to ever go to Allen Fieldhouse again.
What would be the SEC equivalent where you're just never going to get the calls?
Kentucky.
Yeah, Adolph Rupp. Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, Rupp Arena.
Rupp Arena.
You're getting a call there.
You can't talk about OU basketball until February. That's what he just said, Connor. So Connor's been chipping at me today, man.
He is, man.
Maybe it's because I kind of chimed in on him on Twitter taking shots at the Belgian Minister of Health. You know who she looked like?
No.
She looked like that android or whatever in Total Recall, where she's going through the metal.
Takes the head off and explodes.
That's who the look like. She's telling people that.
New one.
Huh?
They need a minister of health like our new one.
Yeah, she looked like she's telling Belgians not to eat five or more eggs a week. And
shut up, fatty.
Connor took exception with that. So, anyways, all right. Well, let's start to make our way out of here. Who the Chiefs got this week?
Chiefs have the Los Angeles. I hate saying it. Los Angeles Chargers. Still feels weird.
It's San Diego in my book. I don't
San
care.
Diego.
What it says. San Diego and
the Murph.
And the Murph and the Chargers, the Chargers.
Phillip Rivers and
let me look at something
children.
real quick.
Sure.
So will we have picks for this week?
No, there are no picks this week.
So standings show Maxwell Patton of Sayre America, the general, 181 points, finishes first in the college football pick'em for Law Dog Sports. So congratulations, Max, and just an amazing job by him as he really all right, so we've also got a poll on our Law Dog Sports Twitter page, and I'll put it up on the Facebook page as well. What's the best color of golf ball to use in the fall? I'm going to say yellow. Well,
it's white. It doesn't matter. You got enough of them in your bag, you're going to lose them anyways.
Yeah, I went through 3 Vices yesterday at Romano's.
Unless there's snow on the ground.
Yeah,
no reason you shouldn't use white.
Now, I think Srixon makes a two-tone golf ball, like the blood red orange and like yellow or something. Kind of looks like the old bobbers we used when we were fishing as kids.
What are those? Oh my gosh! They make the balls for the long drive. They make like the matte blue and the matte pink balls. You know what I'm talking about?
Marty, are you saying that's you as the general? Oh, no, Max. I'm sorry. Max Patton said, hey. So, Max, I believe Max is the general, finished first in the Law Dogs. Mike Crow, Preacher's Picks, finished second. Pistol Pete's Pickers. You finished ahead of me, Jeremy. I'm sorry. Go back to what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just trying to figure out. Connor, maybe you can help me. they make the long drive balls, and they're always funky colored, blue, pink,
Srixon,
lime green. No, it's
Callaway.
no, it's a different brand.
Okay.
I find them every once in a while.
Well, I hit the Vices yesterday, and I got to say, I felt pretty good. There's maybe 2 went out of bounds. Actually, and here's the funny thing: on one par 4, I just chopped the top off of one of them, and I thought it only went about 20 yards down the green, in front of the green or in front of the tee box. And I looked and looked and looked and couldn't find the dang thing, and it was white. And the thing about where I play is there's gypsum all over the place, and the gravel's bright white, so it's
that might be. Yeah, then maybe you should use a different colored ball.
Yeah. I thought about
blue ones.
Probably definitely not orange in the fall, because that's going to be a nightmare. All right, what you got?
I can't find it.
You're looking for the long distance golf ball?
Yeah, man, whatever.
Championship Saturday. Who you got in the ACC? SMU or Clemson?
Man, pony up.
Pony up.
Go.
I'm with you.
Kevin Jennings gonna go off.
Battle of I-25, New Mexico State and New Mexico. That's actually a basketball game. Sorry, that's going to be Saturday. On my score app, when you do favorites, it doesn't specify the sport. MAC Championship, Ohio Bobcats versus Miami of Ohio. Is Frank Solich still at Ohio U?
No, he retired a couple years ago. Give me the Red Hawks.
Miami is a 2-point favorite. So there you go with that. Total over under is 44.5. Iowa State and Arizona, Big 12 Championship. Arizona State, sorry.
Forks up, they're hot.
Sparky coming out with the big dub. Georgia and Tejas.
Georgia
is a 2.5-point dog in that one. The over-under is 49.5. Do you think I guess really a prop bet might be how many pick sixes does Quinn Ewers throw?
Yeah, he looked he was a little Volvic.
Oh, yeah. I can never find those. Do I need to go to is that a sporting goods purchase or?
I think they carry him at Dick's.
Okay, I've not seen him at Wally World or Target. Sun Belt Championship, the Fun Belt, 6-point favorite going to the University of Louisiana Redhawks.
Is that General Booty's team?
Yeah. He didn't go to Louisiana Tech, did he?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that is General Booty.
Give me the Booty all day.
Yeah. So they're not, are they the Raging Cajuns? Yeah, they are.
You said Louisiana Monroe?
Well, it says Louisiana, so they're UL. Oh. I think Louisiana Monroe's. I liked it better when they were southwest and northeast Louisiana or whatever. Big Ten Championship, Dylan Gabriel and the Ducks, a 3.5-point favorite over the Nittany Lions.
Until proven otherwise, it's Oregon.
Yeah, I don't know the Penn State can pull one out like that. Comments. Connor Karst thought it was Bridgestones, but you said it's Volvics. I would like to find a set of Volvics. Wait, how did that? That didn't sound right. Volvic golf ball. Dan Narva, Ohio Bobcats field named after Solich now, and then Marty Wandry. A private school just won the 3A football championship. Lincoln Christian beats Sulphur by 1 point. I saw that on Twitter, and we try to steer clear of high school sports as much as I can since we mentioned Marty's business establishment on the air. Clinton Liquor, folks. If you're on I-40, you need to find a good deal on some hooch. Stop by there on 10th Street. And visit our friend Marty Wandry at Clinton Liquor. We sure appreciate him a lot. So it'll be a fun championship weekend, Jeremy. I'm looking forward to it. What sucks is there's no Pac-12 championship.
I know. That'd be Friday night at Levi's Stadium in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And there'd be 3 people in the stadium.
It'd be at SoFi with an
and Utah would probably
10,000. Yeah, Utah wins in front of 15,000 fans, all
in front of
14 of which are wearing red.
Yes.
All right. Well, listen, let's get out of here. And man, it's good to visit with you. And I hope you had a wonderful holiday last week. And it's just, it's so much fun. Well, I say it's fun. This is a rough time of year because, I was flipping around last night. It's like there's no Maction anymore.
Oh no. Where's my Maction? I need
no
Akron and
Maction,
Toledo
no
in the
Fun
cell
Belt.
right now.
Man, and talk about. I guess maybe the conference. Let me look at that real quick.
Well, Maction is Tuesday, Fun Belt's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Then we have Thursday night football. Then we got Friday night college.
Oh, 2 more championships to pick, Jeremy, or 3 more. Sorry. Conference USA, Jacksonville, Rich Rod, and Western Kentucky. Looks like Jacksonville is a 5-point favorite.
Gotta love Rich Rod. It's going to be wide
Rod,
open option offense.
Army, the number 24 ranked team in the country, is a 5-point dog in the AAC championship to the Tulane Green Wave.
Give me the Green Wave.
I'm going Cadets on that one. I like Army. Now
I like Tulane. I think they got a pretty daggone good team.
Are you surprised that the Mountain West Conference Championship has just got Boise as a 4-point favorite over the Las Vegas Running Rebs?
No, those are that UNLV offense is going to put some points on the board. And
57.5 is the over and under.
And Boise's going to run the football. So
Ashton Genty.
Yep.
Let's see. NFL on Sunday. Let's see. Anything jumping out at me there? Man, we really – 2 things I'm going to shoot for with the upcoming new year. 1, we've got to get John Moore back on from the Texas Rangers baseball podcast. We've got to talk hot stove. 2, we've got to spend an episode bagging on the Cowboys.
Oh, that's easy.
And we might
I could do an hour right now if you need.
We might get MJ Barrett up here for that. I could reach out to MJ or Corey Hogue. And then 3, I've got to reach out to Bill Connolly at ESPN. I've got to contact with him. I've got to see if I can get that ball rolling and see if we can talk college football with him. That'd be a lot of fun. And I really interview him about his time in Weatherford and things like that. But anyways, well, I tell you what, bud, let's plan on getting out of here. So it's a lot of fun always, and I appreciate you jumping in with me.
Man, this is great. Good one tonight. Lots of ranting. That's the best.
2 quick comments. Dan Narva Pack Championship in the Bay Area always seems so stupid. Bay Area was like the part of the pack that cared least about football. Exactly.
Yeah.
Marty Wandry says, good job, Chuck. No freeze up tonight. So we may be even better next week. And then Dan Narva confirms, yes, no freeze. So thanks, guys. Thank you to everybody who tuned in on YouTube and checked us out live on there. Be sure and subscribe and invite your friends to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Law Dog Sports.
Please.
Yeah, please subscribe. Also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, X, and Instagram at Law Dog Sports, and listen to us at your convenience on SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon Podcast, and Apple Podcasts. You can find links to all of those at lawdogsports.com. For Jeremy Schroeder, I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog. Everyone have a great championship weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.